to show you that it took a bit of a minute to get all sorted. Um, Scott wanted a custom dial, and it proved to be a little bit harder to create than anticipated. Okay, Google, volume at 8%. Okay, Google, volume at 8%. So, wanted to replicate a VW gauge panel. So, lasered everything out, and then I tried to do backfill with silver, but that proved to make it look almost exactly the same in all the etched out areas, which was the centerpiece, the numbers, and the referencing around it. So ended up going with black, and even black alone was tough. I had to do like 4 coats because it kept not showing perfectly in that center area. So labor of love on this one. So we finally got it where at least there's contrast in those areas for them to stand out. So once I got that, then I clear coated it with like a more of a matte finish over that. So it's brushed silver, black filled paint on a steel dial from my buddy in the UK. So did that. He wanted something to kind of go with the with that look, and wanted orange pointer hands, and on that dash it was very thin. So the thinnest and longest that I had, we stripped down, painted them in orange, and then relumed them, and then did a white second sand on there. We did this setup on a bead blasted case. So we originally had a bead blasted solid bezel on there, and then ended up converting it over to a tall coin bezel with a ghosted insert. It's minute style. If I just move stuff out of my way, I wouldn't have to fight it the whole time. So ghosted bezel insert on there. We did the VW logo on the crown for him. Custom engraved exhibition case, or not an exhibition. It was a standard caseback that we milled and then engraved out. That was a bit of a feat to get. So bead blasted case, bead blasted crown. What was I going to reference? So while we're talking about the bezel, these bezels are not clickable bezels. They're held on with a tension ring. So since it was a little more loose due to it being bead blasted, there's less there. Normally with a bead blasted case, I don't go with a I don't want to put a bezel on that will turn too freely. If it's a solid bezel that has no accents on it, then it doesn't matter. It can spin as much as it wants, and it always looks exactly right. So what I did do, complement that just a little bit and help that out, was I added in some floss around there before I snapped it on. So your bezel will go left, you'll go right. It's just held on tighter with the tension ring mixed with some dental floss wrapped around the lip that this clips on. So then he wanted to do a rally strap, so I did a rally strap out of the leather that I do my custom wallets out of. So if you have one of those wallets, you already know how nice those are. So off-white stitching, one fixed keeper, one loose keeper. And then he wanted type 3 put onto the clasp, and then I did a bead blasted clasp form. This is a buckle, I'm sorry. I did a bead blasted clasp form, type 3 on there. So if you ever swap off of this and you would swap to some sort of SS band, you would have a matching bead blasted clasp for the build. So that's the build as a whole. It's an automatic mechanical, so you can wind it, you can wear it, you can put it in a watch winder, but if it's dead or you're not going to be very active, you're driving or you're sitting at a desk, you want to pre-wind it just a little bit. And how you do that on this platform is you back the crown off the threads till you hear it and feel it clicking. At that point, you can wind, and a wind is a turn away from you. Now, if you wind it for 3 or 4 seconds before you put it on, even if you're not very active, you'll keep time. But if you do this for something closer to 20 seconds, you're going to max out your 31 plus hour power reserve on it. But you cannot overwind it, so you can wind this all day. And this is what I do, because I wind them, set them, and check on them the next day to make sure the hands are fine, the movement's good, make sure it's keeping perfect time a day later. So then you'll pull it to the one and only click. At that point, you can then set your time. You'll also notice you've got a wobble crown that takes a little bit, essentially kind of has like a little ball joint in there, and it's going to deflect lateral pressure from going into the stem, putting any adverse pressure onto the movement. So if you're pushing and prying on it, it's rolling with you a little bit. I always just kind of pull it back straight, and then I don't have any worries of it twisting a little bit, but it doesn't matter if it does. So if you fall back into this area right here where you normally wind, you'll notice that you can't set the time and it's not winding because you've got a clutch system in there. So you can go from winding it to setting the time, but you not go from setting the time back to winding it. You'll have to reset the clutch by screwing it all the way down and then backing it back out. Okay, Google, what time is it?
It's 11:54 a.m.
It's 11:54 a.m. You just push it right back over and thread it down. And that's the build. So hopefully he loves it. It took a minute to get, especially with that dial. As with every build, matching beads will come with it. Whether you wear them is completely up to you, but it's a lot cooler if you do wear them. This one will come in one of my special edition white BVW boxes. The watch build will come with watch clearance is good on all glass and metal parts, so everything here in the center. Non-toxic, non-streaking, non-residue. You'll also have some leather conditioner to keep that leather strap perfectly soft. A little tiny bit will go a long way. Just push it on the front, put it on the back, put it on front, top, on the back side, let it soak in, remove any excess, but a little bit will go a long way, so do not go crazy with it. And then lastly, this is an acrylic glass. You can scratch it, but if you do, no worries. Put a tiny bit of Novus 2 on it. It's essentially like Polywatch, but we package Novus 2. So put a tiny, tiny bit on there, buff against that scratch to fill it using your included ultra-dry microfiber. Generate some heat with your thumb, and you will knock it out in about 15-20 seconds. It will completely solidify that scratch and polish it back to normal. So that is your build, man. I hope you love it. Took a minute to get it all done for you, but I thought it turned out pretty awesome. So then again, I'm not an expert on making it look exactly like what you were going for with the automobile, but we can fine tune it over time, especially if we keep working at these. So I appreciate you a ton. We'll get this shipped out to you here later today. And if you want me to build you something custom and unique, reach out and I'll see what I can do for you. And if you want to continue to see videos like this, like and subscribe as I put them up all the time. Thanks for your time, guys.